Hi everyone, your embedded tutor John here, and in this video we're going to go over some tips on how to figure out the definitions to new terms in the novel we are reading, Dune. Anytime we're reading literature, we're often going to run across terms or words we don't know, and it's a good opportunity for us to underline or identify those words and then seek out the definitions so that we can add those words to our personal lexicon, but also so that we can make sure that we fully understand what the author's intent is and what's going on. In science fiction, this is going to be a frequent occurrence because the authors are oftentimes talking about inventions, devices, or cultures that don't actually exist. And so they're going to have new terms for those things. And if you don't know what those are, then you're going to be missing out on a lot of the author's intended story. So it's really important that we take the time to identify those words. And so we're going to go over how to do that in Dune specifically, because fortunately this novel has a key part in the back that makes this a lot easier. So I'm going to go over that with you guys now. Okay, so we've got our novel here, and as you can see, I've used some post-it notes to identify some key areas that I want to be able to find quickly. It's always a good reminder that that is a trick you could do. And if we open here to page 4, you can see the first set of definitions right quickly, just getting started in the novel, that I identify that, hey, I don't know what these are and I need to figure out what they mean. So we've got Gom Jabbar and we've got Bene Gesserit ladies. So I didn't know what those were and I thought they were important. So the way I identified them was putting a little square box around them. Now, alternatively, you could underline them or highlight them or whatever method works for you as far as just identifying where they're at. And then over here in the column, I wrote a DEF question mark as my way of saying, hey, what is the definition for these things? Now, you will eventually find the definitions most likely later on in the book. For example, for Gom Jabbar, if we jump ahead to page 10, we have the definition here, which says the Gom Jabbar, the high-handed enemy, it's a needle with a drop of poison on the tip. So one option would be to go back to where it originally had the term and then add a little annotation that says that definition's on page 9. So that's always an option. But fortunately, this novel has an appendix in the back. And so if we flip to the back, you've got a number of appendixes. So it's appendixes plural because this is sections that provide additional information on the novel. And if we go back to page 648, we have the terminology of the Imperium. So this is a whole section that is literally a list of definitions that are relevant to the book. And so anytime you find terms that you don't know the answer to, you can probably find it in the back here in the technology of the Imperium appendix. So for example, the first term that I know the definition of was Gom Jabbar. And so you can see here, and I've highlighted it with a post note again, Gom Jabbar, the high-handed enemy, the specific poison needle tipped with metacyanide used by Bene Gesserit proctors in the death alternative test of human awareness. So here, when I didn't know the definition of the term, I could just flip back to the appendix, immediately find it, and now I know what that term is moving forward in the novel. And then this definition references the Bene Gesserit, which was one of the other terms that I didn't know the answer to. And so if we go a couple of pages back here, so here under B, because these are all in alphabetical order, so it makes it easy to find things. If we go down here, we have the Bene Gesserit definition. So according to the novel, or to the appendix, the Bene Gesserit was the ancient school of mental and physical training established primarily for female students after the Butlerian jihads destroyed the so-called thinking machines and robots. So here you can see that this sci-fi novel comes with an appendix that has all of the key definitions that you're most likely going to need right in the back. And so instead of just kind of plowing ahead and just jumping past all the different definitions you don't know, which is going to result in you missing a lot of key details and not fully understanding the storyline and what the characters are doing and what devices they're using, for example, the Gom Jabbar, look in the back of the appendix. It's all in alphabetical order. It's really easy to find the definitions, and it's a great addition that this novel has that really helps us as students really fully understand the novel by looking up the definitions. So that's the tip I wanted to offer. And if you happen to run across any terms that you don't recognize that aren't in the appendix, just look them up online. That's always an easy way to find definitions. But with the appendix, you're getting the author's definitive definition. So that's always the first place to look. And if that doesn't have it, then check online to find the definition. And that's the tips I have for this video. So hope that helps, and good luck reading the rest of the novel.